Good morning, students. In the previous lectures, we had discussed about the phylum Coelentata, its characteristic features, its classification, polymorphism in coelentates, and in this series, today's lecture will be emphasizing on corals and coral reefs. You can see the beautiful structure of coral reefs. Myself, BALRAM SAIN, Assistant Professor in Zoology, Government Dunga College, Bikaner. Today's lecture will be dealing with the introduction of corals, coral reefs, distribution and conditions of reef formation, components of coral reef, types of coral reefs, economic importance of coral reef. Coral reefs. Before describing about the coral reefs, first we will discuss about the corals. Corals are the animals belonging to the phylum Coelentata. These are solitary or colonial polypoid forms and lives in a skeleton of calcium carbonate secreted by themselves. Some of these grow into huge mounds while others are large and branched colonies. However, most of the corals belong to the class Anthozoa and few others to the class Hydrozoa. The corals may be soft or hard, stony. In hard corals, the polyps produce a skeleton of calcium carbonate to strengthen and protect the organisms. Now, coral reefs. T.M. Vaughan, 1979, gave a definition for coral reefs, that is, a ridge or mound of limestone, the upper surface of which is near the surface of the sea and which is formed of calcium carbonate by the action of organisms, chiefly corals. The coral reefs are in fact produced by corals belonging to Anthozoa, particularly by stony corals, the Madreporaria. Hence, these are supposed to be the principal builders of coral reefs, though there are certain other contributors also. A coral reef, in fact, is a ridge of limestone whose upper surface is just below the sea surface and it is exposed at low tides. Distribution and conditions of reef formation. Corals have built a thick stratum of the Earth's crust. They have coral reefs in the Caribbean seas and in the Indo-Pacific region from east coast of Africa to the northeastern coast of Australia, which is known as the Great Barrier Reef. However, Fiji Islands of Pacific Ocean and those situated in Bahama Island regions are the best known coral islands of the world. Bermuda is a coral island where houses are built up of coral blocks. Around India, coral reefs are found off Port Oka and Dwarka in the Gulf of Kutch and also of Rameswaram in the Gulf of Mannar between India and Sri Lanka. The coral reefs are also located at Andaman and Nicobar Islands and at Lakshadweep Islands. Now, what are the conditions? The coral reefs grow best at a depth of about 30 meters or less and normally in warm water up to about 20 degrees Celsius. Light and amount of sediment also limit the reef forming corals. They also fail to grow in dark shaded areas and they completely die in total darkness. Below 50 meters, no reef building corals are found, though some solitary corals exist up to 8,000 meters. Components of coral reefs. In addition to stony corals, other components in the formation of coral reefs are Millipora, Tubipora, Heliopora, Alcyconaria, Gorgonians, Foraminifera, algae and branching algae, etc. The coral reefs are also inhabited by a number of sponges, anemones, sea urchins, starfishes, crabs, snails, bivalves, etc. Formation of coral reefs. The coral reefs have a great vertical thickness, though reef building corals live only up to depth of 50 meters, and those of past geological ages also lived in shallow littoral waters. How the great thickness of coral reefs has been made is explained by several theories which will be described in the different lecture. Now the types of coral reefs. The various types of coral reefs are grouped into three major types. First, the fringing reefs, second, the barrier reef, third, the atoll reef. Now we will discuss one by one. First, the fringing reefs. The fringing reefs, also referred to as the shore reefs, are built from the sea bottom and extend from the shore up to 1/4 mile out, having no navigable channel between the shore and the reef. This zone of the sea is called edge or front. However, sometimes reef beds are broken to result into irregular channels called lagoon. This is the picture showing the fringing reef. Such reefs are composed largely of coral sands having living and dead corals, building reefs, mud and other animals. Fringing reef is very common in East Indies. Second is the barrier reef. The barrier reefs are like fringing reefs, but they are situated in the sea nearly 1 kilometer to 15 kilometers away from the shore. Therefore, navigable channel called lagoon separate these reefs from the shore. The lagoon may be 20 to 40 fathoms deep, hence it becomes navigable. The Great Barrier Reef on the northeast coast of Australia is 1,200 miles long, about 20 to 70 miles wide, and situated nearly 90 miles away from the shore. This is the Great Barrier Reef. This is the island. Third is the atoll reef. The atoll reef is also referred to as coral island or lagoon island. It is of circular or horseshoe shaped reef enclosing a lagoon of water which may be small or large up to 50 miles across. Atoll reef may be broken to form channels. These are the channels. This is the lagoon. These channels are suitable for navigation and other may not be suitable for it. An interesting atoll reef example is Eldabara in the Indian Ocean, about 260 miles northeast of the Malagasy Republic and 400 miles from the coast of Africa. Now we will discuss about the economic importance of. Before this economic importance, one more interesting thing I want to tell is a fringing reef may in course of time change into barrier reef and this in turn into an atoll successively by the sinking of land around a fringing reef. Now we will discuss about the economic importance of coral reef. First, importance to oil industry. They are of great importance to oil industry as coral reefs of the geological past are very favorable sites for the accumulation of petroleum deposits and so they are of great importance. Second is habitats for plants and animals. These serve as habitats for many plants, animals like sponge, mollusks, echinoderms, fishes, etc. and even man. Third is decorative purposes. Some corals are valued for decorative purposes. Example, corallium rubrum, for example, is one of the most precious stones in India and China. As medicine, The red coral and organ pipe coral are used in some indigenous system of medicine in South India as building material. Large chunks of coral skeletons of porites are used as building material. Because of their calcium and magnesium carbonate content, these corals serve as raw materials for the preparation of lime, mortar, and cement. Barrier against sea erosion and cyclone. Coral skeletons also help in making ridges that act as barriers against sea erosion and cyclone. Besides this, coral reefs serve as a nursery for a number of commercially important fishes. The fishes found in reefs are more brightly colored than others. Thanks a lot for paying the attention. More about the phylum Coelenterata will be discussed in the upcoming lectures. Thanks a lot.